Nice little swimming hole back there.
Could I have your names just for, I know Mary.
Ian Garland, Ian with an E.
Yeah, when you call. And.
Joanne, J-O-A-N-N-E. Claire is C-L,
Oh.
A-R-B-Y.
E-Y.
I'm sorry, that's what I get mixed up.
Is
Bob's
gone?
here.
Oh, yes?
Yeah,
Well,
he was right out here a minute ago, so
Oh,
he's
okay.
here.
bookcase here is there.
I hear him.
How many classes are you teaching this year?
Well, I'm subbing. I'm covering for a woman who was on maternity leave for the first quarter, so I got 3 more weeks to go, and so it's a full load. But it's it's different when I know I can leave in 3 weeks. Hey,
Got to Gavin there, didn't I?
and you
Sorry.
get those copies of the agendas?
Oh.
Pretty good, Martha. How are you?
Something.
You want to sit next to me? Do I smell or something? Or?
No, it's like I said in the sun, I feel like I'm being interrogated.
That time of year, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Twice a year this happens.
Very good, twice a year.
Oh, no, that's one.
How are you?
Pretty good.
All right, it's 4:32, and we'll start the regular meeting of the Select Board
Oh,
Jackson,
thank you.
October 17th, 2013. First on the docket here is to amend and approve the minutes from October 3rd, the public minutes. You have a motion to
So moved.
Second?
October 3rd.
October 3rd. Right. Any discussion on those?
No.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, right, butts.
You want this back?
No, you can keep that one. It's gonna be right quite a bit.
Okay.
That's yours. We'll try to keep it to a minimum today.
Okay.
Thank you. Next is the signing of the 2 non-public sessions for October 3rd. And those have already been sealed, so we'll just initial those for you.
One of those was from September 7th.
Oh, and the other one, I'm sorry, the other one was September 17th that finally got signed and sealed.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And these were the non-public that went to public.
You
Right.
said just to attach that to the minutes.
Oh, for these, okay.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Number 2, update on the action items. I'll leave that right there. And Bill, I think you got the keynote speaker here today.
I was going to touch really on we have not come up with a plan for the burglar alarm system, but it's pretty much what we talked about, and that is, after the second alarm, the price goes up, but we just want to keep it at a level that doesn't become onerous, I guess. We're just trying to solve the problem. We do not have a proposal to you at this point, but it will be forthcoming.
Okay.
And LGC did send a response to the question of setting that up, and it can be one of 2 ways. It can be either at a town meeting, based on, you have an email from me.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yep.
So it's, if it's not through the police, then it has to be through town meeting to set up that ordinance, and if it's through the town police, I believe that's what it says, then the selectmen can set it up.
Okay.
So, does anybody have a way to proceed on that? What's the next step here?
I will, first, my proposal is that I'll work it out with the chief and it'll come through the police department. We'll bring it to you.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You might wanna, I can give, or you can give that, email to.
There you go, that's pertinent to what you're doing
I'll
there.
take care of that, get something to you, and then we can go from there.
Very good.
Okay?
All right.
The next thing was the healthcare. Julie and I went to the Municipal Association of Healthcare, and I feel, whatever it is, obligated to bring some information to you regarding that. And I want to say before I do anything, and I'm not the expert in this, I don't know if we can find one, but anyway, Julie can correct me here if I'm wrong, but here's the potential of what the sort of issue becomes is the potential is not reality. She told me that might happen, and I didn't think it would.
Bill, you could probably put that board
Yeah, let me just
on.
sit it over there. Don't worry. I'll just sit. Is the potential is that the Obamacare looks at Cadillac plans and they impose a Cadillac tax. And remember, this is a municipal association that somewhat administers this health business for us, okay? So we're hoping these aren't the prejudicial crew, these are the ones that are trying to help us out. Anyway, what happens is we have our plans are approaching what's called the Cadillac tax. And if we keep going, and this is the minimalist process, that means this is not an exaggeration of process, this is assuming all of the best possible outcomes, is that along about in 18 we go to Cadillac. And that means then that we start paying these Cadillac taxes. I can give you, well, this is the question, okay? The Cadillac tax is gonna be imposed. Now, I'm not the expert,
I know.
okay? Okay, is the Cadillac tax is gonna be imposed on employers, and we're an employer. Just because we're government doesn't exclude us from this. But industry is not gonna pay that tax, they're gonna give it back to the employees. So that's one of the questions we gotta thrown with here, is how we're gonna deal with this thing. Because there's no hiding the system, it's all the total dollars. So we talked about like, well, you have this plan, well, we'll just reduce the plan to keep the money, or we'll increase the deductibles. It's the total money going into the plan, so you can't hide from it. You're stuck with the Cadillac tax. And you gotta decide how to deal with that, which I think, you know, I don't think we can it's gonna be worse if we just keep kicking this thing down the road, because it's gonna get to the point where it's just costing you too much money. It's just gonna be money. Now, assuming that there's you're looking at pretty significant numbers as you move down. Now the problems, and this is the best of all circumstances, this is where everything's perfect for us. The problems come in looking at, this is their estimate, in looking at 12 and 13, you're going up, assuming some rates here, but you're going up 10%, 14%, 25%, and 27%. They used these figures in 16 and 17, but said, we don't believe that's really where it's going to be. We believe it's going to be a lot higher than that. But this is our conservative figures for you. The higher this goes, the worse this Cadillac tax becomes. One of the things that enters into these equations is that the room and meals tax, I don't know whether Jackson gets any money back from that or not. But anyway, the state is keeping, pardon?
We pay it, I mean, you know.
No, it's paid on all the hotels paid.
Right.
But it's supposed to come back to the towns where the hotels are located. And what they're doing is saying, we're gonna continue to keep more and more and more of it, so less of that money is gonna be available to town to do anything with, let alone pay the Cadillac tax. And then you get into the, where am I here? Aid to education, and that's going to go down. The state is going to give less and less back to us for aid to education. They're going to keep more of it for their stuff. The bigger kicker is down here, if you look at these things going straight up, is the state used to, or they now apply, this is without the state contributions. The state contributions go from 35 to 30 to 25 to 0. When that moves up, this is what the employee is going to pay in this issue, which is the whole number of this Cadillac tax. So as this thing springs ahead, this penalty is going to spring ahead, and it's gonna land on our desk, and, you know, as an example, I'm just gonna use Julie because she's here. Julie is probably gonna come and say, look, I can't pay these, you know, what is this? And I'm gonna be sitting here saying, I don't want the taxpayers to pay, okay? I'm gonna say, I won't vote for a tax increase to pay this, I just won't do it. So the question is, we need to come to some kind of understanding of how we can deal with this. Doesn't have to be done today, but the longer we wait, it's gonna just get worse and worse and worse. So, I'm done, let's go fast.
Glasses?
The health insurance that is above the normal range that they, that fits into the normal range is considered a premium or Cadillac plan.
They decided the amount, above that amount is a Cadillac. And it includes everything you pay. You can't hide behind anything. You gotta, whatever it is, whatever that piece of medical costs you, including the penalties, is moves it into higher. And these penalties go as high as 40%, by the way.
And they're guessing, you know, what companies are gonna do. They're saying that some companies, well, some larger companies have already said they're gonna stop offering health insurance. They're gonna compensate their employees for the plan that they can then go get on the exchange. So, and the guess, or I guess the assumption is that a lot of companies are gonna do that, and that is going to then make the exchange have more people, and the prices are gonna come down, so.
It's all theoretical.
But it's all, yeah, there's nothing, no one can say if this is going to happen, but this is what they're saying.
Wasn't it a 50-person threshold for something that?
That, at this year, it's 50% threshold to be subject to the employers, subject to the tax right now. So if you have less than 50, you're not into it. But
What are we at?
Well, I still haven't got it clear. I have to talk to someone about what they consider a full-time employee, because they went into some detail.
it's a very long formula. I don't.
Complicated, and I think that it's basically just the core group of us that are considered full-time employees, which would be well under 50.
Would they treat municipalities different than, you know, obviously a business?
No.
Well, from what we understand is, this is, the municipal association is saying it's still driving the Cadillac plans. The Cadillac plans will be recognized as Cadillac plans. Now, I can't swear how that's all gonna wash out. But I mean, I think that my opinion is it would be something, as we get more information, we probably should have a meeting and sit down and talk about it before, you know, 2018.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's, we need to put something in place that says, this is the path we're gonna take in this thing for now.
Which I think is good, but it's also hard because no one knows exactly what it is.
That's why I can't give you anything more. I'd love to give you concrete stuff, but nobody has.
Nobody knows, right? I mean, nobody knows this point.
So when you say Cadillac plan, the language that I've been coming across has been bronze, silver, gold, and
Ours
platinum.
is considered the highest.
So this
color.
would be the equivalent of a platinum
Right.
plan.
Well,
Or not.
my opinion is it would be above a platinum plan.
Would they use
Our
that
system-
language at the
No, I think they were saying that this was part of the platinum.
Well, part of the Obamacare is, what is it, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. That's when you go on the website and you choose one.
Right.
This would be in excess of that, and these penalties, somewhere on here, can go to 40%.
Right.
So it's not a simple process. It can get very expensive.
And then,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, at one point you said that industry just plans on giving it back to the employees. I wasn't clear on what you meant by that.
Well, I can tell you what I read, and that's about it in the system, but some employers are saying, I'm not gonna absorb that. I'm gonna pass it on to the
I'm not gonna
employees.
absorb what, the tax
The
increase?
penalties.
The penalties. or
Yes, I'm not gonna,
taxes.
taxes or whatever it is, that I'm just gonna pass that on to
I'm just gonna
employees.
charge the
Right.
employees that amount more.
More, In other words, however they do that, I don't know how they do it.
But then,
Right.
then I think it ties into that the employer is gonna dinged, if you will, for offering a non-affordable plan.
Correct.
And then,
It's a complicated
and then they're
process.
gonna get charged
Got
like $2,000 per employee
Got
if they offer a affordable plan that forces people to go to the exchange. I don't know.
So
It's-
there are mechanisms in place to prevent that from just being completely passed along.
Right. But some of the larger companies apparently are saying that they're willing to take on the $2,000 per employee to not offer insurance and have the employees go to the
Exchange.
So there's so much of it that's gray right now. I think it's great to give a report like this so we can kind of be a little bit ahead of the curve.
It is too gray for me to tell you a whole lot more.
Yeah.
I will try to keep my eye on it. I mean, if it, for whatever purpose, I will try to keep up with it as best I can.
Yeah,
And if things happen, I'll try to take on the responsibility to keep you kind of updated.
And I can help because they send me notices and
Right.
information.
yeah, that'll be good because at some point in time, it looks like we'll be needing to make a decision of some sort that's got the best way forward for the town and you know.
And the employees, right?
Our biggest, greatest asset is our employees, but at the same time, we want to do right by the voters too, so find that balance, strike that balance, figure out what, you know, and as some of these rates actually start to sugar out and become reality, I think our decisions probably.
I think probably in 2 years, once this whole thing has been running for a little bit,
Yeah.
you will have some more.
You'll have more
answers.
information.
Sure.
It'll leak out slowly, but one of the things that they said, even at this thing, is don't plan your decisions on the facts you have now.
Right.
Because nobody knows what those facts will be in a few weeks. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I had Whitney's Pond again, and Julie spoke to DES, and they had supposed to have their meeting in October.
In October, yeah.
Did we find a date on that? As I was thinking maybe I should be part of that meeting if they would let me.
I didn't, he did not, I don't even know if Jeff is going to that meeting, but I know it was someone that's involved in the process that is hired, and I believe was an engineer, to take part in a meeting, but I can follow up with Jeff.
Yeah, if you could, please. I said I like to try to get involved in that. Since
Okay.
Is there gonna be a public meeting?
I don't know if it
I
can,
don't think it is.
Do you know what their plans are?
I think that's what the meeting is all about.
That's
to
the whole,
come up with
to
a plan.
finalize what they're gonna do for this winter and, what they're gonna do with the dam and repairing that, and the whole kit caboodle.
So are they gonna try to get the town to pay for it?
Oh, no, this is gonna be paid for, I believe, by the two parties that have the direct interest in the pond.
Not the Levine,
Sorry?
not the Levine Corporation?
Jeff, the gentleman at DE, well, you know Jeff, he didn't know who was funding it, but one of the parties in the group, or multiple parties in the group, have come together, or one person is paying.
So who's paying for the work that's been done already? Like the dredging stuff?
Some of that is part of the maintenance of the pond to keep the fire pond, and that's the town's responsibility. Jay has done some of that. Right, but the other stuff was some of it was probably Hurricane Irene funds, I would imagine, to shore up that section of the bridge there that gets kind of not heavily damaged, but certainly damaged a little bit. But the
Or is the town required to get wetland permits when it does work like that?
not in emergency situations, I believe, under certain. If they're like for example, if it's a hurricane, we have to do it now type thing. They are, and then they can. I don't know if you can backdate them, but I think it's one of those things you can fix immediately if it needs an immediate treatment, and then go through the permitting process if necessary. Usually they say, hey, go ahead and do it because it's a hurricane. Most of the damage that was done, they didn't go through the DES permitting process. There's just so many issues
Because now
out
there's
there.
no water coming down Great Brook from the intersection to the dam.
There isn't any water at all. The river's very low right now.
There's a great flow,
It's all rushing into the pond.
there's a great flow on that dredging that was done in 2012, sometime a year ago in the fall, that was brought to my attention last spring, which created my alarm of all the sandbagging that was going on in the debris from the sandbags and the dredging that was done and the trough left between the road and the brook itself, with no erosion control put into place. Come to find out, there was no permit awarded for that work, nor has the sandbagging had any permitting done in the last several years that it's been taking place in Washington Stream. So currently, if you look at the brook, at that point, the main flow now goes into the pond. Between where it's diverted on down to where the water comes out of the pond, it's pretty much at a standstill, the water. And then now the leaves are clogging what was done, and there were stones put into the main stream to prevent the water from going down there. Now my question is, how deep does a dredging of the main flow of a stream, which is illegal, have to divert water into a fire pond? How much water has to be in a fire pond? Now I would also, it's the time to bring up a.
Sure, absolutely.
Last week, there was an article in the Daily Sun saying Black Mountain cuts new GS trail for the race team, and how that's wonderful. And I'm not at all opposed to Black Mountain and the business and whatever it does. I love Black Mountain. I grew up with Black Mountain and so on. But my question in this whole article is the paragraph that says, and I quote, in 2012 to 13, the mountain invested in 2 new Ingersoll brand compressors and over 40 high tower efficiency snow guns, increasing its snow-making capacity significantly. Well, that's the same period of time that this dredging was done, creating now the main flow of Great Brook into the pond. Is that a coincidence? Are we helping pay as taxpayers for this fire pond when it also serves as a giant snowmaking business? So it's a coincidence that both this whole investment in these compressors and high tower efficiency snow guns, you need a lot of water for that, and it all happened at the same period of time. So my question is, who paid for that? Didn't have anything to do with Irene. There was no emergency. It's at the same period of time where they were making these wonderful improvements, and they improved it very well, because now the main flow goes right into the pond.
So you said they've done work this year?
It says here, in 2012 to 13,
They did the improvements of
apparently
For the skier.
the ski area.
the mountain invested in these
Right.
2 brand compressors and 40-foot high tower efficiency snow guns. That is, I don't know when they did the dredging, but it was probably, well, it was before the spring, before last winter, which was 2012 to 13, the same period of time that this was all being done. So it alarms me and concerns me that they're claiming it was a fire pond, which is all legitimate and wonderful. At the same time, they are significantly, and I quote, increasing their snowmaking capacity. So, how big does a fire pond have to be, and how much dredging do you have to do to make it appropriate?
Yeah, I think a lot of the things with the snowmaking guns, and I've worked at Black, and
Sure.
you know the efficiency of the guns now are so much better than they used to be, where they did suck up a lot more water. All right, so they do produce a finer snow with less water. So I don't think there's necessarily a correlation with the number of snow guns they made and how much water they need. That may be averaging out because of the new efficient guns that they have. The compressors were replaced from ones, I believe, that caught on fire. The original ones were ones, I don't know, do you remember when that was?
No.
Black, the whole compressor building that's behind the double. For many years, I know John was renting compressors because that was too expensive for him at the time to fix, and so he's done that since then. I would say that's probably at least 8 years old. That 8 years ago that fire happened. So I'm not necessarily, again, equate the compressors being replaced with, again, increasing snowmaking. I think those were replacing the ones that, again, don't quote me because I'm not John Fischera, but, you know, I believe that was to replace the ones that were burnt out in that building many years ago. And again, I will check into it. I don't, you know, the fire pond has been, you know, I said, Mary, you remember, I'm sure, that, you know, they made snowmaking in Black at Whitney's Hill back in the 50s. I mean, you know, that's been a snowmaking pond for a long time.
Yes, this is true, but
Yeah.
the pond is big and it seems to be getting bigger, and then now it's a problem with the dam, and I'm just saying, presenting it to people that, let's question what's really behind this dredging, and in fact, DES asked, whoever's involved and responsible to create something, there were no erosion controls put in there when this was done.
Well, I'm hopefully this
And
meeting will
they, you know,
rectify that. I mean, I certainly understand what you're saying. I
Yeah.
don't want it to be a, you know, everything flows in the pond situation. It needs to be a natural,
Sure.
semi-natural veering of the ways there. But, you know, I definitely would, you know, try to make it right is what I want to do. If you could write down your concerns for me and give them to me, I mean, you know, so I can address those specifically,
Sure.
that would be helpful. I'm trying to write some of them down, but at the same time, I'm listening. I may not get all of them, so I would appreciate that. And if we can set up that meeting, and I'll try to address that there. And
If you could be there, that would be good.
that was my plan. You know, I thought it was already done, to be quite honest, because it's October
I
already.
don't know
you know.
if it is, I'll send Jeff an email tomorrow morning and see what's going on with it.
Yeah, I be quite honest, I don't know what I can say about this year. It's so close to this year. I don't know what's going to change. I know that, you know, the situation needs to be rectified and made right. I certainly agree with you
And
on that.
I totally support the whole Black Mountain ski business, but to have everything's done properly.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So if you remember from one of the letters they sent out, where they improperly put in a huge culvert to below the dam, then this water gets thrown out too far and it's eroding under the dam. So with this increase in flow,
Well, I think that was one of the things they had to address was the dam quality itself. It was far undersized for the size of the water that was holding back.
And the other thing is that when they did the dredging, they also put in, upgraded the culvert
Mhm.
to a 36-inch culvert.
Yep.
So they're wanting more water to go in there.
That was kind of mandated by Irene, if I remember correctly, because in order to get the monies, you had to make improvements on what you had, so it didn't happen again. That type of situation, I know, and made it work backwards in this case, but, you know, I think that was kind of one of the ways to guarantee the money was we had to improve the system, not go back to status quo. You know, like up in Dundee, all that rotten rock, I mean, not rotten rock, but that, rip wrap that's up there, that had to be put in to make it, you know, more stable than what it was, so.
how many fire ponds does the town maintain?
Well, there's one on the crossroad, across from the tennis courts there. There's Whitney's, there's the one,
Moody Farm,
Moody Farm,
Cameron Drive.
There's 4
I
right
think there's
there.
one on Carter Notch.
Yeah, there's one on Carter Notch, yep. And what about Mirror Lake? Is that considered a fire pond for those guys over there?
I don't know. I think that pond that lake was there when they built, so I don't know what the designation on that is.
Yeah, I don't know if that,
You know, we've got to have
at least 5.
Yeah,
think
have a
of.
handful anyway. But I mean, I think that the reason I was asking if that was a public meeting is just because it seems like we have interest in people attending the meeting and following along. So
Yeah.
maybe we can get to the bottom of that. It may not be, but I do. And I thought I had a scanned copy of that letter. Remember the letter we had that we didn't realize we had the last time we addressed this with Mary? And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the letter. You probably have seen the letter.
I have a stack.
Yeah, and I just wanted to access it to just go over it right now, and it's probably there, and I just can't find it, but because I thought I scanned it in, but it is his plan to build his own fire pond. It sounds like.
John?
In the
Yeah.
same location.
Is that what he wants to do?
I don't
Same
know.
location? See, I don't know. That's not his land, so if he's going to build a fire pond, I mean,
Jeff Share.
the ski area owner, I thought that's what they alluded to
But
in
it's
that
all
letter.
owned by
didn't
the
think
Levine Corporation, right?
Yes. It is.
That's right, but my assumption is it's gonna be on the other side of the mountain. I could be wrong, I don't know, but I think we all have a lot of trust in the fact that the state's involved, the DES is involved, and whatever happened that shouldn't have happened, because we were claiming that these were changes that needed to happen to maintain a fire pond. And I think what you're getting at as well, is that really why all of this work was done for a fire pond, or are we trying to help somebody with a snowmaking pond? And so we want to get to the bottom of that. And I know DES does too, so I just put it out there. I mean, that it's a very legitimate question to ask. Skepticism is a very healthy thing to have. And
I
we
don't think
will.
they want us to, that they're needing so.
Well, you know what? There might be times when other governing bodies in this town don't want certain people at their meetings either. Not speaking for us, but at the same time, you know, that's good, sound, open, transparent government. And so this is not a government meeting where they're going to meet and craft something, but obviously we're going to be kept in the loop, and obviously we intend to make all of the changes moving forward public so everybody can see things and everything's totally transparent. And you know, I mean, I don't want to know that there are sandbags down the river either, and that things are going on that take away from the scenic quality of the
There's still a
town.
lot of sandbags in the river.
Yeah.
Yep, from the Wilson Bridge down, we didn't take those up.
From Wilson
Onto
Bridge
the golf course.
down.
At least the whole.
Really?
You went all the way down to the golf course?
I would not believe it. We saw, I mean, just from.
Used to do that as a kid.
The ponds and the falls.
We
as
took
well.
pictures of them all, but they're just too difficult to get up.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's embedded.
Yeah.
So.
they're still shredding all the time.
Yeah.
I
Right.
didn't expect it. I really curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I
Well,
appreciate you
everything's-
bringing it up, I really do, because
Yeah.
I agree with you, it isn't right to have those in there, there's no two ways about that.
Yes, they
Okay.
do.
Good. Thank you.
Right.
All right, well, okay, so get something John over on.
Yeah, just give me something right,
All right,
I'll
thank you.
follow up
Thanks
again.
for listening to us.
Thank you, ladies.
Where's everybody going?
Yeah, no, it's a crowd, man. That's it.
We
Meeting adjourned.
get it.
Thank you very much. All right, Bob, you didn't have any, so you're free. No waiting, I haven't heard back yet from Bartlett about the meeting.
No, she said she was gonna check about the schedule,
Yeah, I know he's probably pretty busy, as of course. Jeff, about DEF, we just talked about that.
and we're gonna get letters, you know, will be updated, we're in the loop, you know, so that we wanna know.
Very good. I just wrote a note here, maybe, maybe to find out how many fire ponds, what kind of maintenance schedule we have for them, just to kind of
Okay,
have that on record, I guess. We just talked with Mary, so we're all set with that. Library lights with Dick, you said that's done?
that has been scheduled, and he is working with Jay.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, I spoke to Jay about that, that's all. He says it's probably gonna happen within the next month, before winter.
Good.
Yeah.
Before it gets dark out. All right. Talked to Bartlett about the 2 letters. I assume that was the trash hauling
Yeah,
ones?
and that's in the old business.
Okay, good. And Julie had nothing, so we're all set there. All right. Public comments? Hearing none, I guess we'll go to the police report. Holy cow.
Afternoon.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Okay. Everybody knows about the rail work that they're doing up 16. So I don't know how long they'll be doing that for.
North, I haven't been up there.
Yeah, from Storyland up, they're putting in new guardrails. So just expect maybe a delay here or there.
Yep.
From time to time. Other than that, things that we've had. One motor vehicle accident, a rollover in the notch. One complaint of somebody who passed a school bus while its red lights were on. There was no other information given, so we couldn't track anything down from that. 2 medical assists we've helped with. One report of suspicious circumstance. It just turned out to be a house window that was open, the screen was in place. Nothing found out of the ordinary, and the homeowner was contacted. So, however, I'm going to get back to something else on that too.
It's a story.
Yeah, building up. 2 loose dog complaints, 5 burglary alarm, residential burglary alarms. Again, I'm gonna touch on that again in a second when I get down with the rest of the list. We had a trial at district court. The subject didn't appear, so a bench warrant was issued, and the subject turned themselves in here for that, failing to appear. We've done numerous house checks with people coming and going elsewhere. We did a vehicle check for the town clerk. We assisted State Police Troop F looking for a motor vehicle accident. It ended up being way down in Darley Carp, out of our area. But once in a while they ask us to help out looking for it. 1 suspicious person check. Found property, a wallet that was turned in, and fortunately he called and we were able to give it back to him. A criminal mischief report. It was actually a vehicle in a parking lot of the Red Fox, bumped into the light pole, knocked it over, and then took off. Again, no solid information to track down, just, pickup truck or whatever in a color. An informational report from someone who said they were almost hit crossing the street on Black Mountain near Christmas Farm Inn. Again, no information on the vehicle, there was a color and description, but no plate.
You said it knocked them down?
No, as he and his wife are crossing, the vehicle sped by and he had to kind of pull his wife off the road quick, that type of a thing. So he called to let us know. 911 hang up at the Christmas Farm Inn, which ended up being unfounded, because a lot of times a 911 call will go in, it'll have the switchboard's number, and those are awful because they're packed that night. You can't track it down. They have no idea. So.
It'd be a problem if it was a real 911.
Yes, yeah,
Right.
it's very uncomfortable. Yeah. Another found property, a bicycle up in Route 16, an older bike. It's like a green Kent brand 10-speed. It was found at the second rest stop. So if it belongs to anybody, let us know. Another lost wallet. They called us and said if we find a wallet, just let them know. And now we did have 1 breaking and entering, and that was at 132 Jackson Highland Road. I guess a small basement in the back. I didn't take the call, it was another officer, but a small window in the back was opened, and I guess as the alarm company was reporting to dispatch, who was letting the officer know, the basement alarm's going off, now the living room alarm, now the front door alarm. So there was motion, someone was in there. The alarm is what scared them off. Nothing was damaged, taken, or anything else because of the alarm. So having said that, just a reminder to, if you have an alarm, turn it on, keep it on. Make sure you're securing windows and doors and things like that. I haven't heard of too many more breaking and enterings happening in the area. That's not to say they're not happening, but I think there's been a couple in Bartlett, and that's about all I know about right now. So, and then we had a Project Good Morning check today. But that's all I have for what we've dealt with.
How was the weekend?
Not bad. You can see it quieted down quite a bit. So, but the pumpkin people and stuff. So yeah, it was a little busy. Yeah.
Keeps traffic down to 5.
I'm getting more and more amazed every year.
I know. No, it's great for business.
We love
Thank you very much.
Can I, while you're still here, we have under new business, we have something from Jeanette for Avatar. It's on folder 8.
Uh-huh.
And it would just be interesting to get your take. There's a new program that Jeanette would like to take advantage of that would allow, it's newly offered by Avatar, and what it would do would allow her to email tax bills to individuals, and it would also have tax bills available online. They have tax information online right now, but they don't have the actual tax bill. This would be the actual tax bill. And her one thought was, by having this information online, it's going to have individuals' mailing address on there, which would, if it's from Massachusetts or wherever they live, it's going to have that address, so people would know if this were a second home or not their main address. And my original thought was, well, if someone wanted that information, they can come in here and get it, it's public information, it's right in our lobby. Do you see any added risk, do you see any issue with having that information online, because that was her one thing she wanted to get the selectmen's opinion on, but while you're here, I just figured.
I don't have an opinion on that. I'd have to see it a little more in detail and just make sure before I say, yeah, it's no problem.
But having
just in case.
Having information online about people's address or billing address, I guess, is that.
It doesn't sound like a problem, but again, I don't want to answer without really looking through it and make
Right.
sure there's nothing that do other towns do this? Right.
Well, this particular one is a new program that's just starting, so I asked that. And she thinks that Madison is doing it already, but I think that they don't have a full list of everyone because it's new. But she would like to take advantage of it. So, anyway, I just figured it.
Doesn't sound harmful, but yeah, I reserve the right to
Because I
look
just
at
think
it.
that, if people want information like that, they can get it.
Right.
Yeah, but is a burglar gonna come to the town hall and look up information and find out if somebody is home or not, or the second
Yeah.
home, I mean,
Yeah.
they're just gonna go to the house and hope for the best, I would think.
So they probably wouldn't spend a lot of time on our website.
Maybe not,
Searching.
maybe this is
Is
more,
that-
maybe they're more sophisticated than that,
Yeah, I don't
I should probably underestimate them.
They can be, but
Well, I understand,
I can see a legitimate concern there.
I guess she did send an email out to her personal contacts, and she said it was about 40 people presenting the idea, and she only got 2 people
Concerns.
commenting back saying, that
Can people opt out of it?
they can.
Oh, well,
But
there you
if they
go,
opt out of the whole
kit and caboodle.
kit and caboodle,
isn't there also a privacy option to not have the address
Let's see.
go out on the internet?
I
Or-
think that this information would be the full the tax bill that's printable in the same version, so it would
Yeah,
have that
okay.
information on it.
Is it like a PDF then, or?
That I don't know.
Does that telephone numbers in?
She didn't mention it, telephone numbers.
Thanks, I think we're good.
All right.
He's waiting patiently as we discuss this. Thank you very much.
We're trying to keep you here because we know you're gonna leave and then we have no.
We have no fan club. All right, item number 5, building matters here. We have 4 permits, it looks like.
Actually, 3, one's a void.
One's a void. We have map VO5 lot 29, installing a rooftop photovoltaic solar panels, monos. Those are fun to install, I've done that. Assuming Andy has no issues with these.
No, 80 signed off on all.
Second one was the void. And third one, item C, was map VO9 lot 15. Lift a log cabin and pour full foundation, adding 1420 bump out.
That already happened.
That's pretty, that's what I did in my house, that wasn't fun. I didn't pour it though, I wish I had. Fourth one is map R12 lot 128, remove old shingled roof and replace with metal covering. So no issues with those, I guess. Item number 6 is assign the manifest. One for you. One for you. One for you. Another for you. And last but not least. Very good. All right, next is the 2012 audit prepared by Dave Mason. Anybody have a chance to look at that?
I did.
I did not.
Okay.
What's the summary,
Uh,
Bill?
I mean, that's the first one I'd ever been through.
Okay.
But, as far as I was concerned, I thought it was very complete. It seemed very, what do you call it, high integrity. It seemed to follow the right rules, and I'm fine with it. I think it was excellent.
There were some comments, I believe, and again, I didn't read it verbatim, but kind of skimming through it, there was some comments about the library and how to handle funds, transfer of funds, raising of funds. Things that probably you should read at some point.
Okay.
But other than that, I thought it was excellent. You know, Dave does a superior job. But a lot of these things we're trying to address with your meeting coming up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's, hopefully that will be
Not the library
rectified.
portion, of course, but
Well,
So were there suggestions in there about better
Yes.
ways for the library trustees to?
well, I think there was he was asking for more clarification at town meeting to identify funds and where they're coming from and where they're going to.
Right, there was a question of whether the funds were being raised privately or
Okay.
town funds, and you know, are town funds being used, you know, appropriately?
I think he just wants it to be clearer for next budget.
And it's
season.
not clear enough in his eyes as the auditor right now, the distinction of where their funding sources are coming from.
And there was some reference to outstanding checks at the end of the year. Adjusting some ledger entries. You know, obviously suggestions that we'll certainly try to accommodate. I would think probably you might want to read it before we approve it though, just in case there's something in there that bugs you.
Put it on for next week.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's rather lengthy, but most of it's diagrams and charts and things.
Yeah, I remember reading the one last year. It's
I sent you-
fascinating.
I sent you an email.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a long one. But I said about 80% through it myself, so. All right, new business, FYI here from Property Liability Trust. They're having an annual meeting and they're looking for people to join the board. I don't know if you guys have seen this, there's 1-year terms, 2-year terms, and 3-year terms. I don't know if anybody's interested in that.
I'm not in a position to
I'm
commit
not
at
really
this
in a
point.
position myself, right? Next on the docket here is a letter commitment from the Household Hazardous Waste Day for 2014-2015. We can't commit dollars because we have to appropriate them in March, and we have to have this in now, saying we're going to commit to a certain amount of money. Julie did call.
I got clarification, we're not obligated. It's kind of like a budget item. She said even if we submit this and say we're gonna do the same as last year, which was $1,000, we're, for example, you'll see the bill that's attached, they only charge for the number of people from the town that take advantage of it, so it's $800 and something for this year for our portion, even though we committed to 1,000 last year. So it's just based on the number of people participating, and it's just a number they can use to submit for grants. But it's not holding us
It's
to
not
that.
binding.
Yeah,
It's not binding. If it was voted down in March, then we wouldn't have
right.
to worry about it. But then again, we wouldn't be invited to do this either.
That makes sense. You know, they understand the timing of something coming out right now, yeah, so that makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
I guess I need a motion to sign this to be the authorizing agent to commit $1,000 for the hazardous waste collection day.
So moved.
Second?
Any other discussion on this?
Up to 1,000.
Up to 1,000, and we have it up on 1,000. It'll be a warrant article, I believe, or budget item. It's a budget item, I believe. I think it's on a budget. I don't think it's a warrant item.
So, yeah.
But either case, it'll be there and open for everybody to see.
Yeah, I'll have to check if I'm not 100% sure.
Now you get me concerned about this avatar thing.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, I think that Jeanette would like to move forward with it. It's $250 for the year, and then, I'm sorry, this year
It is PFD,
if they do it now,
PDF.
they can take
they
advantage
can.
of it for the November billing, which she would like to do, and then next year is $250, but the rest of this year is free.
Rest of this year is free, and
Yeah.
next year will be $250, so we have to budget for $250.
Right, and she said that with the cost savings with emailing the, things out rather than stuffing the envelopes, she thinks that'll,
Be a wash.
Yeah.
Like I said, I want to make sure everybody can opt out of the address
they
thing.
can opt out.
That's key for me, because that was just scary listening to that conversation. Sean?
I have just a personal opinion about that. I think you ought to be able to opt in if you want, not opt out.
Well, I
That's
think
why I
she-
asked about the telephone numbers. If the telephone numbers are in there, then any crackpot can call down and find out, oh yeah, they're in Massachusetts, I know where their house is here. If there's no phone number on it, then it's much less of a problem.
She didn't mention anything about.
I don't think there are photos on the tax bills.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And I believe she said, I'll have to double check, but I believe that she said that she can't sign, I mean, it sounds almost more of an opt-in, because she has to notify everyone and get their email information, so it's not an automatic.
Oh, then if people want to opt in, I think that's fine.
I can clarify that.
And like I said, it is a 21st century here, and we do things by email. It's much more efficient than mailing everything.
Right.
But I like the point is if you're taking steps to have this, to be a part of that, rather than just having a passive role and then seeing that it's online. I think that's Bill's point. And then it sounds like we are going to have somebody taking concrete steps forward by providing an email address, because those are not on the tax card.
Right.
So
That's going to be some legwork to get that set up.
I believe that Jeanette is gonna send out letters, but I'll have to, I think that's what she said, but I'll have to
there
clarify.
goes your savings.
Yeah, there you go.
That's true.
Well, it's free for the rest of this year,
Yeah.
right? So there we go. You have to pay for it next year.
Oh, that's true.
Any further discussion on it?
I have nothing.
All right. Anybody want to entertain a motion in signing this, or we want to table it? What do you want to do?
But I think I'm comfortable making a.
As long as people have a choice.
It's
Yeah.
an opt-in. That would be my
Yeah.
request. If you
Right.
don't know that for sure, I guess I'd rather know that. I understand what you said, and that's fine. If people
And
want
I-
to do it, that's
And
great.
I don't know whether, I know that she said people can opt out, but from what I understand, I think people have to give her permission, they give you email address and stuff, but I don't wanna speak on
Well,
that.
it's not time sensitive. If we want to table this and get some clarification on that, I mean, it sounds pretty clear to me, but that's less than 100% surety that somebody's going to have to take some steps to provide this town with their email address. But it would be nice to have the clerk verify that somebody has to take steps to be included in this change. And so I have no problem tabling it for another meeting.
I would agree to table it until we find out a little more.
It looks like, and again, I'm just scanning this. I think they have to access with a PIN and a login number anyway. So.
Oh, really?
I think if that's what if I'm reading that
that's new
correctly.
information.
And she didn't mention.
And that's good.
She didn't mention
So-
that.
Internet users access the tax kiosk directly and anonymously without the need to purchase a subscription, provide a PIN number, or I guess I'm sorry, take that back. They don't need one.
Oh.
Without the need. That without was a word.
Well, I think Jeanette's going to be pretty clear on the nature of our questions.
She read through that very carefully, and she highlighted points, that she,
bullets.
she wanted to double check on.
Oh, it says, there is no method at this time for the internet users to opt in for paperless notification without first choosing to make an online payment. However, if the tax collector wishes to provide the service to taxpayers that do not wish to make an online payment using the tax kiosk, the tax collector from within the tax collecting system can initiate an opt-in confirmation email process by selecting the parcel and entering an email address. So I guess that's kind of an opt-in option there. Maybe we should just read it and take a look at it and put it on next 2 weeks meeting.
Yeah.
All right, signing of a refund or
Oh,
a,
this is for Robert.
yeah,
This one is for 2012. I thought that Jason was gonna provide something else, but I was told to just use the same information and apply it to 2012.
Right.
Same as 2011.
So this is the abatement appeal that we looked at. And based on Jason's recommendation, they want to refund $5,391.08 and change their assessment accordingly for map R14 005 and R14 005 VV as in Victor.
And we already made a motion and approved that adjustment, right? So it's just a formal signing.
That was for 2011.
That was the 2011 one.
Oh,
So this
okay.
was-
Okay, so this is 2012.
So this,
And
requires
2013's
another-
already been in the system, so.
and this adjustment is a result of the,
Visit.
Huh?
The visit we had.
right, and the recommendations that Jason made,
Yeah.
Correct.
that we've already approved.
Right, for 2011.
Right. And that amount carries over to 2012, that assessment adjustment.
Questions there, Bob?
No.
Any motions or anything?
I'll make a motion that we accept the recommendation and adjust the property tax amount for the properties spelled out in the letter.
I second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, these are land
Oh,
use
that is-
change.
Yes,
So these are people going on the payroll now as
those are taking them out of current use.
out of current use and back into the tax rolls.
Right.
Okay.
There's 3 of them.
3 of them. And a total amount of $4,000 will be added to the tax base.
That's what they owe. You can read his email, but that's the
Oh, okay, so
dollar
this-
amount that they owe on bringing that out of current use.
Right. There's 3 of them here. So we got, let's see, map R11, lot 17. That was for $4,000, and then R15 map 2 lot 1 was $22,500, and VO6 3100A7 for $150. So those are all being taken out of current use and now going to be on the tax roll, correct? Okay. Do we have a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we'll do them all together. Yes. I read them all. All right. Go there. Take that one. That's that one. Paper clip off this, so. There we go. That one. That one. That one. And that one. Thanks very much. All right, and then we have a little FYI for Warren on the weekend event. Shapley exhibit. Did you guys get to see it? I did not.
Got a lot of
Oh, it's
attention.
It sure
He
did.
said it was happening this weekend.
This weekend coming up.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. On this week, I thought it was
Oh,
past.
pumpkin.
The art sale.
Attention, yeah.
Cool. It's funny because that looks just like my fireplace. It's interesting. Probably built by the same guy. Neat. So I guess I'll have to go check that out this weekend. Alrighty, old business. Trash hauler letter bark. I did go up and talk with John Edgerly about that.
And there is a list of the people that they were gonna send a letter to.
Yeah.
And it was,
In that file?
yeah, and there's an email.
This was the next one in. John represent Campbell, Black Mountain Properties, George Boards, Mountain Vale Property Services, North County Incinerator, and that's Bartlett's hauler list. Excuse me, that's Bartlett's list. Do we have any?
That was the whole list.
That was the whole list?
That's the whole list.
Yeah, I went up to talk with John about it, and the haulers, they don't separate, and really the owners who throw the stuff in there don't separate either. Storyland goes in the bin, with everybody else. They come in with a big, just throw everything in there. It's crazy. We lose a fair amount of recycling money on that. So I don't know how to rectify it because it's almost impossible to ask everybody to recycle at Storyland. Or any other business for that matter. It's really tough to do. I don't know how they're gonna find them, but
Well, do they have, at Storyland, do they have like one thing for garbage and another, they have that already?
they may. But how they, I know at school we do it too, but
Yeah.
it doesn't always get recycled. The paper has plastic in it. How kids are. It's the same thing. I personally don't have any problem with it. I just don't. I don't know what's gonna happen with those haulers. How are they going to be able to separate their stuff? I guess it's their responsibility, but they may just take the fine and move on.
Well, it seems fairly clear that, our crew up there knows who is probably giving a good solid effort and who's giving less than solid effort.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the letter is probably a first step. I don't know what other recycling centers do when there are haulers out of compliance, but maybe it's something we can talk about. Don't we have a year-end meeting coming up?
That's on the docket as well.
Yeah, so it'd be great to have a conversation with them about that.
So do you want me to tell them it's
colleagues
okay
in
to
Bartlett.
send this letter, or do you want to hold off?
I have no problem with the letter. I think the letter has to be a first step to getting people into compliance. And the fact that our staff is clear on some haulers doing a better job than others means that some could put a better effort into it. I don't know how, I don't know what, if they're just picking stuff up from people who aren't making an effort and others are, but in this day and age, it's about putting that effort in. I think if there was a piece of paper in the plastic bin that, that when you're making recycling efforts, it doesn't sound like that's what we're talking about here. It seems like we're talking about haulers that aren't putting any effort into recycling at all.
I guess my question is, kind of following John, is that it's almost a dilemma, meaning I don't know how you're going to solve this. But the other thing is it the responsibility of the recycle at the intent or at the location of recycling? I don't know how haulers are going to solve that. What are they supposed to do?
Well, we fine them, and they're going to raise their
Yeah,
fees. That's what they're going to do.
If you fine them, they'll just raise your fees, but it's not going to solve recycling problems.
No.
Well, they police in Conway. They have people that are on the payroll to make sure things are going in the appropriate spot. obviously a long, long ways from being at that level.
Do they have any haulers come in?
Enforcement.
Yeah.
Oh,
They do?
sure.
And the
Oh,
haulers
yeah,
separate?
probably most
They
of
Same
them.
said-
ones that you guys have.
Yeah.
They separate at their facility? Or
Where do they separate?
where they,
Before they go in.
before they go in?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to follow up, like pick Storyland.
Mhm.
So the hauler goes in Storyland and separates everything out?
I don't know about story.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
commercial.
Shouldn't pick our story there, I'm just
I
saying,
mean,
yeah.
commercially, they've asked us, like where I work is in Conway, and they've asked us to separate out our recyclables.
Right.
Right, well,
They
we
charge
did,
us more if we put cardboard in, they pull cardboard out.
well,
They
is
charge
it
your
pulled
company.
out at your location?
Yes.
That's at my location in Conway.
Well, I guess these big trucks are dumpsters, right? They go in and put the forks in and dump it in.
Right.
But that's what
So-
I'm saying, like North Conway pulls the cardboard out before they put the dumpster in, before they can go to Conway with our stuff.
There's a.
They do make an effort,
It's a training effort at the point of collection.
that's
I
right.
guess that's my question.
It's
the point
all-
of collection. But
The human element there, I mean, whoever's putting that stuff in a truck has an opportunity to take a look, understand what's going in, what's not, who it's coming from, have a sense of who's putting an effort into compliance. I mean, I would imagine if somebody's 80-90% compliant, it's probably not an issue, but if there are haulers that are
Mixing everything.
mixing everything up and not putting any effort into it, then that sticks out also.
I'm just trying to figure out why the hauler is responsible for it. The responsible party is the people at the point of usage throw it in 3 separate places.
Right.
But how's the hauler responsible for that?
Well, the hauler, when they pick up, it's probably pretty obvious to them what's clanking and clinking in a bag that they're throwing in the back, or what hasn't been sorted, or what has. And so over time, I think they get a pretty good sense of who's putting an effort into it and who isn't. I don't know what kind of cost is passed along to us if the people who take our recyclable materials end up seeing lots of things in there that should be recycled. Is that an issue for us as well?
No, well, it costs us more to haul it, we pay more in tipping fees.
So,
Yeah, so,
well, right,
and we're not getting the money that we would have got from,
that's right,
you know,
that's right.
so we're losing on both ends there. Yes, ma'am.
I know that down into LPOA there, they've been getting charged extra for hauling, for mixing their recycling.
mean, that-
LPOA was-
Lindhoff,
oh,
they've started getting into that, and their hauler is making them separate.
Right.
okay.
So it's not out of the area
Mhm.
for folks to be separating before they put it in the hauler.
Not out of the realm of possibility
Yes.
for people to do some sort of point of collection check and.
I guess, are they the enforcement officer? Then they can select fines if you don't do it. The hauling companies can say, we're gonna fine you.
No, the transfer station people at the dump.
Okay.
When the haulers come in and say, hey, that's got too much stuff, it should be recycled, they'll find it right there.
I think it's a difficult problem.
It's my
If
interest.
they just want to raise the rates to everybody because they didn't do it right, I guess you can do that. Maybe that's a penalty. And
I think right now, the Bartlett's just wants your support to send that letter out.
And start the wheels of turning.
Yeah,
And we may have to make further action later.
do you want me to tell them that
Yeah.
they have the support? What do you think?
I have no problem with it.
Okay.
I'm only one vote.
But I agree. And then
Okay.
We'll see what, you know, I don't think it's something, yeah, see where it goes from here.
okay.
If we don't get any kind of result that, John doesn't get any kind of result he wants, then we'll see what happens. Alrighty,
The last letter was just that,
the Notchland.
Notchland's in letter, and so,
I did talk to John about this too.
oh, okay.
And he did not have a problem with it because it's all collectible materials that we end up getting money on.
And apparently they get charged for it, or are going to get charged for it or something. Notchland.
The Notchland in.
That's what,
I did not hear that, but,
Brenda at Bartlett said.
okay. That's fine.
So and was there anything for you to sign on that letter?
No, I don't think so. No, Gene and Doug and Dave signed it. It's from Bartlett, so.
Or so you support the Notchland Inn letter as well,
Yeah.
or support them Notchland being able to go?
Yeah, if there's, associated fees with that, that's fine. I have no problem with that. You guys all set with that?
I'm
And
fine.
then most of it's paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, so that's items that'll be pre-sorted. And, so we get to make some money off of that on the collectible recyclables.
Okay.
All right, commercial, this was the same thing. That was the letter for the haulers. Right, and we heard back from Carl on the emergency notification system.
Yes, Carl and Tom both agreed, and they signed that form, so now it just needs to be signed by you.
So this was the form we approved tentatively.
And we nominated.
We nominated Carl and he wasn't here, so
Yeah.
we just found it. So, just need permission from you guys to sign that
Yes,
motion.
I was so moved.
second.
And today is the 17th. All those in favor?
Aye.
13. Good. All right, that's good. And this last one, with Burr, update on the wildcat erosion over by Eagle. We get an update from Burr on that, and they're working with Headwaters Hydrology, and they submitted a proposal to Tom, and they're in the process of looking at that. And Tom's also considering doing it with input from Trout Unlimited. So that's in their hands right now.
DES has not received a permit from them.
So nothing's happening this fall.
Right.
So at least we got those wheels turning. Keep
And
that
they did
posted.
say that nothing, if they chose to do nothing, there's nothing that DES is requiring of them
As of yet.
as of yet.
So keep that on that. Do we sign everything we need to sign here? Boy, there's another red tab here. I know that means trouble. No. Red tab, no signature. Huh.
Did you?
You messed up. Any other old business or new business?
No.
All right. Any public comments? Ooh, what do you
I
got?
have one update.
Go ahead.
It's about knotweed. And, we had set aside a section of Carter Notch Road for Ann to do a non-chemical removal method. And as it turns out, she came back from vacation, had some concerns that it had been sprayed based on how it had looked. If you go around town, some of this knotweed has definitely had a frost, some of it hasn't, some of it's still robust, some of it that hasn't been sprayed looks really rough, some of it looks great. And she had concerns about it, so I contacted Prescott this week, and he had mistakenly sprayed that section. He misread, the maps were a little confusing, and I want to give him that. Even I was confused by that map system. And he took that map to read that the area we wanted to set aside was up beyond where the pavement ended. So he mistakenly sprayed there, and so I informed Ann Cantak about that because she didn't want to, be coming into contact with those plants and mechanically removing them, and it had been sprayed. And so she's aware that it has been sprayed. She's actually looking at another test area to do some non-chemical removal methods from this, right next to the Ellis River, where the bridge goes over Route 16 near Green Hill. There's some knotweed right along the side of that road somewhere, and so she's come up with her own plan B, and
I'll leave yours there.
it's kind of a regret that happened, but it did happen, and I'm glad she
Actually, I can't.
contacted me and asked me to follow up. So that's the status of that.
All right, good. And that's unfortunate. Mistakes happen. We did try our best to get that done the way we wanted to do it, but that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I feel badly about that, but oh well.
That's it for old business.
Old business, anything else? All right, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye,
Aye, aye.
you can throw those out. Just then.